gap to medical services and emergency at sea. What are the various challenges and innovations? Please do put your hands together as I now welcome Surgeon Vice Admiral Aarti Serene, AVSM, VSM, Director General Medical Services, Navy, Indian Navy, joining us here on stage. May I request all of you to please put your hands together as we thank ma'am for being here, and we so look forward to hearing and learning from her. Such a delight to have you.
So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting us here to tell you about what we do. It's a very different kind of medical care, but I think basically we would be the same at the end of it once you see the presentation. So these are the following heads under which we will be discussing the topic. To introduce to you life in the Indian Navy, here it goes.
हरदम तैयार है, बिल्कुल तैयार है, हरदम तैयार है, बिल्कुल तैयार है, जी जाने से तैयार है, इसीलिए तो हम लहरों के पहरेदार हैं। जय भारती, जय भारती, हमने नौसेना, हमने भारत के सारथी। जय भारती, जय भारती, हमने नौसेना, हमने भारत के सारथी। है उस मिट्टी के बने हुए जिस पर देश प्रेम का ठप्पा है, तभी गर्व से देखो बोल रहा सागर का चप्पा चप्पा है। दुश्मन के लिए हम तैयार हैं, हरदम तैयार है, बिल्कुल तैयार है, जी जाने से तैयार है, तैयार है।
So ladies and gentlemen, that was just a few vignettes of life at sea in the Indian Navy. To tell you more, we can just describe to you a couple of situations: rough seas and adverse weather conditions, Navy combat operations and exercises. There's a lot of risk of trauma. It's like an occupational hazard. You have mission-based deployments when prolonged timings, which also include a lot of medical logistics and other logistics support too, where we need to have ration supplies, nutrition to the entire crew. There are underwater operations where we can have issues like decompression, sicknesses, barotrauma, and hypothermia. You can have distant casualty evacuations, which take up all our time at sea. So you can see that where it can happen from. I'll show you in the subsequent slides. There are various locations from which they can start and where they end. And then we have what you call space constraint on board, because we have these various ships and platforms which are of different sizes. Some are small, some are large. So there are various different kinds of difficulties our medical officers face. As you can see, the continuum of care here goes from the point of care. You can be evacuated by either ship or by aircraft towards forward surgical care, and ultimately to the tertiary care hospital wherever they are placed, close to where the ship is deployed. So here we have the ship's medical team here. There's a triad which he's always worried about. We have a young medical officer on board, and he is responsible for a crew of almost 200 people, a very responsible young boy whom we train very well. And here it comes, point of care of the ship's medical team. These are all the aspects of it. This is what our little treatment, medical inspection rooms look like. We have X-ray facilities, we have bunk beds. There is always a lack of space. It's very, very cramped. So because of the distance and away from medical care and surgical care, etc., we have to depend a lot on remote healthcare. As you can see, we use a lot of telemedicine here. From the ship, you can see this was a case of gunshot wound injury where we got real-time assistance from a surgeon in one of our tertiary care hospitals, and we were able to save this patient on board. This was a case of chest pain which happened recently off the coast of Malaysia, and the young boy managed to give the patient an active place. It was a case of acute myocardial infarction, and the patient was saved. You can see the difficulties of evacuating casualties from the various compartments of the ship. We have the Neil Robertson stretcher in which the patient is tied and brought down almost vertically. Sometimes when there is no air support, he has to be put down in a boat and then taken to the next place from where he can be evacuated. As you can see here, we've got an air evacuation happening with the patient on a stretcher and moving out in a helicopter from on board the ship. We move in large contingents sometimes when called upon in various operations, where what we call a medical technical support platoon, completely with an OT, which we can set up in any place. So this is what we do when we look after sailors who are recruited as physically fit people, and for them to be absolutely combat ready, we have to maintain their health 24/7. So apart from what we do by facing those at sea, we also offer them holistic care in many ways. Under the following headings, to this very big dependent clientele we have, we are very, very careful about our veterans. We are very grateful to them for the service they have given the nation, so we look after them too. We look after the defense civilians and their families too. And this is the levels of health care that we give them. We follow the national programs. We have station health organizations, family welfare centers. We do Arogya Dhams. And of course, we have our tertiary care level hospitals. We have mid-zonal hospitals and zonal hospitals. And then we have tertiary care hospitals, which are almost 800 beds and plus. We also look at rehabilitative care, which we share with the other armed forces hospital of the Army, Navy and the Air Force, which is at Pune, the Artificial Limb Center, which looks after this aspect. We also take very good care of, we also have now 2,000 women in the Indian Navy who are serving the Indian Navy. I'm very proud to say that. Apart from their health, we also look after the wives and the mothers of our sailors, because I think the morale is always best when somebody's family is well looked after, the sailor is happy and he does his best at sea. They are also away for now long deployments for almost 4 to 5 months, sometimes away from home, so we have to look after them when they are far away. So this is what we do. These are the Arogya Dhams and the family welfare centers for us. We take care of them completely. This is a very important thing we started last year. It is called Early Intervention Centers for children from just from birth onwards, where they've had perinatal asphyxia, etc., to kind of take care of the early intervention for all neurodevelopmental disorders. We have 5 of them in the Navy, and the Army has taken course from us. And so in the armed forces, we now have 23. This is one aspect which all of us as healthcare providers need to know, because of the high incidence of autism, of 1 in 10 in every family. So now we need to look after the children who are the future of our nation. So we're doing it that way, to be able to help our sailors to be more present at work so that we can look after their children. We've organized workshops. We call in people from NIMHANS, and we stay very current on this aspect. We have a preventive health checkup every year for the sailors, and once in 5 years, a more comprehensive checkup as they grow older to maintain their health. We have very, very comprehensive mental health services. It's very important for us to give them a good, mental health program and resilience, more towards wellness and holistic care that we all talk about nowadays. So we have a very, very robust mental health program, which includes, where we are going to be involving a lot of our non-medical people into this program, and they are slated as unit mental health experts. They are trained by us. They look after the mental health of 8 or 9 people with them. They're like their buddies. So they give us feedback, we train them, and then we look after their issues. We also have wellness centers, and we have a helpline in case anybody is not feeling too good. They contact us on this. We also look after our defense civilians, like you said. We have dockyard workers in 3 big stations. We have 30,000 naval civilians whom we take care of. We also have a large role in humanitarian assistance because of the standard way in which the Army, Navy and the Air Force can look out for any disaster, because they can just mobilize in a very short period of time. So we have a few unique strengths, and because of which we can do large-scale casualty evacuation, something that we did during COVID. I'd just like to share a couple of things. We generally help a lot in repatriation and evacuations of citizens from foreign nations. We did a lot of quarantine. We ferried oxygen from all over the world, and we had dedicated COVID centers. I would be proud to say that I was a part of this largest evacuation from all these countries, where so many ships during 2020 brought back our citizens from there. That's me on TV. So we did a lot on that aspect, and these are some of the films that are there on disaster management. We do regular drills and exercises towards, like everybody else is moving, we are also looking at digital health, innovations in healthcare. So here we have what we had innovated during COVID, just to show, and those old, I hope we never have the situation again. We have now got what you call a PCMF, which is a portable containerized medical facility, which we can use on land and on ships, where we take it there and take it to the HADR place, unload it, and it works like a small hospital with 2 ICUs and 8 beds. We are collaborating a lot with civil academia. We are involved a lot with IIT Mumbai. We've done a lot of innovations with them. That's Dr. Rohit Srivastava, Professor of Biosciences. And he and Surgeon Commander Arnab Ghosh, my student, have come up with a lot of innovations. He's got 7 patents already. He has 54 such ideas. We are doing a lot. This is for recruitment. That is for movement disorders, prediction apps. We are looking at RIOS in the ICUs, contactless remote urine flowmetry. Several other innovations he's looking at. We are also now looking at use of advanced telemedicine systems to upgrade from what we already have. And we are looking at all the above that you can see on the slide, including drone technology. Here we have the Honorable Raksha Mantri Ji looking at this digital stethoscope, which does not require internet, which you can do on a BSNL line. It can be used for teaching and for remote healthcare. These stethoscope approvals have come. We will be putting it out in the market shortly. For our telemedicine, the Prime Minister was very happy to come and inspect. It was judged as one of the best innovations in Bharat Shakti last year at Pokhran. So that's all of us there and the Prime Minister. We have collaborated in terms of training. It is not only us. We learn a lot from civilians. We have a lot of our doctors going on study leave to most of the premier institutes for their super specializations. And we train our naval medical personnel at various institutes, as you can see, and we organize workshops and conferences in collaboration with them. So this was, in a nutshell, whatever we have been doing, and the way ahead that we can see is that we have to have a continuous capacity building, and as we navigate the complex landscape of our role in peace and our different role in war, as a support arm to the Indian Navy, it is essential for all of us to charter a course that addresses ongoing challenges as well as future threats. This will demand proactive strategies from all of us, collaborations, like I just said, as well as adaptability. So as doctors, we more or less follow, I always believe, what is the Navy's motto, which is combat ready. We are always combat ready as doctors, each and every one of us in our workspace. We are cohesive. We all are very used to working in a team. And we are always future ready because we know what we have to do if something is going to happen. So I think, so let us work together towards health for all, and happy Doctors' Day to all of you. And Shano Varuna and Jai Hind. I hope I have been able to tell you in a nutshell what we do.
May I request all of you to please put your hands together as we thank Surgeon Vice Admiral Aarti Sareen for being here.